Okay, not me going live on time. Y'all know I don't never really click the button on the dot. I'm like if it's 59 seconds in it, I'm coming in at the 58th second. You know, I'm on time, but I'm just there for the live. Guys, this week has been crazy, crazy. I think if you were outside in the 90s, if you were a 90s hip hop, pop culture lover, I think you, like me, are just mind blown. I can't believe that we're sitting here talking about Sean Puffy Combs, Diddy, if you will, being in jail and being denied bail. You know what I mean? The D, the D, it don't hold no weight. Like it's it's not as heavy as it once was. So y'all know that I got my PR degree. I have a master's in it too, so I do need y'all to respect that real heavy. But I got it from the University of YouTube, and over here on this corner, we are more like where pop culture meets real life. Because y'all be in the comments like, what I would have done was, what you should have had done was, and you ain't never even had $200,000 at the same time all at once in a bank account. You don't know what you would do. You don't know how you would manage the branding of a business, an entity as big as Comb Enterprises. So what we're going to do today is dig into that. We've got the one, the only Miss Ebony Porter Ike, the CEO and founder of EPI Media Group, okay, certified deal closer. And we are going to talk about the crisis management of it all, right? Because everybody's like, oh, Diddy's done, Diddy's done. And there are people to this day who are like, Robert Downey Jr., no, I'm not watching that. But I do believe in a world if Anna Delvey, and I hate to sound like I'm standing up for Diddy, but if Anna Delvey could be on Dancing with the Stars in her bedazzled house monitor ankle bracelet, okay, if Robert Downey Jr. can be Iron Man, if y'all can still see it for that man who cosplays as a slave, I don't know what Jonathan Majors be doing, but if y'all can see it for these people, then that says to me, just business wise, that there is a road to redemption in terms of branding and mass media perception. So here to break that all down and not just let me speculate by myself, the one, the only, the certified deal closer. Woo!
Hi.
The crowd is going wild.
Hey.
Girl. I know this week had to have been crazy for you. Like, phone calls is coming for me, so I know they are coming for you. For those who don't know, like, you're in the presence of greatness. Basically, you're talking to Olivia Pope. You know what I mean? Like, this is the PR crisis strategist. She is going to walk us all through it. Let's start at the top. Like, are you shocked?
I'm shocked that it took so many years for us to get here. But I'm not shocked with how the news and the media is handling, and also how quickly the world has changed their opinion of Diddy. You know, Diddy was our hip hop superstar, right? He meant so much to the culture. And today we sit here and a whole new story, Very sad.
I know that on the internet, people who don't come from the PR space, there are some people who say all publicity is good publicity, right? We can make
Mhm.
anything work. We can tweak and turn any story how we need to do. First question is there such thing as too far gone? Is there something in PR media world that you just, babes, just go get a job at Burger King?
Never too far gone. Specifically because there are still going to be some people who are going to rock with you regardless. And there will be some people out there who technically don't see anything wrong with what he's being accused of doing, right or wrong. It's all about your moral compass. So basically, the same thing you see with what happened with Bill Cosby and how that's handled. There's many people who are rooting for and waiting for R. Kelly to be released. So
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of people who have very disparate views. The key thing is, if you can continue to create a sense of doubt in the public's mind about what they're being told, you can come back from anything, as a male. Now, women, they're not as forgiving for us, unfortunately. They're not. But Diddy,
we're like mythological creatures and we're supposed to always have it together and we're never supposed to be emotional. So we're not as easily forgiven in that media space because you're a woman, you should have known better.
No, I mean, you look at even our former president, Donald Trump, and the things that he was accused of and things he even admitted. And he still has a crowd of people he's running neck and neck to potentially be reelected. So no, for Diddy, unfortunately, he's not too far gone. There are people that's still in the background rooting for him to come out on the other side. And if he did come out on the other side, he would continue to live on as this hip hop superstar, this Superman, that can't be defeated, can't stop, won't stop. Do you remember that one video that he put up? And they were all running down behind him, and he was getting away from them and going away. So really, he's living out this. Everybody's trying to take me down, and if he comes out on the other side, he may even be bigger than what he was before.
That's a great point too, because also using R. Kelly and Bill Cosby as references, it's always the loudest at the top of it. Right now, people are back to watching reruns of the Cosby Show. Child, y'all might do it in private, but y'all be streaming R. Kelly. So there's always this road for redemption. I want to say hi to the chat real quick. We've got Muse Music in here. Tammy Bold is here. We've got St. Louis in the building. So hello.
Hi.
Okay. Tammy said Mike Tyson came back from prison. We see a lot of redemption stories in the media, and let's be real, mainstream media likes a redemption story just as much as they like a downfall.
Our people are very forgiving people. Okay, very forgiving, but it's not even just us. Again, people have forgotten about January 6th, and they saw it. So people keep talking about this video. We saw January 6th right before our eyes, and people are still willing to support and vote. So what I will say is that Diddy is not too far gone. Right now, he's in the hot seat, and if he gets out, I do believe that he will come right back.
That's interesting. Another point is look at what Bill Clinton was able to move on and do, and look at how Monica Lewinsky's life stopped. I want you to put on your gladiator hat for a second. If you, first of all, pause. Is the PR team asleep at the wheel, or is it just so much happening right now that they can't really do their job? Because to me, it seems like the only people in charge was Diddy and the lawyer.
I think you guys expect PR people to be Supermen or Superwomen or Wonder Woman. So there's a couple of things here. There's a couple of dynamics we need to keep in mind. So when you're looking at RICO charges, that means that everybody that had anything to do with and knowledge and or touched can be held accountable and a part of the enterprise, right? Mm-hmm. So at this point, she was his publicist for 20 years, and she's now part of the enterprise. So she knows now, yes, somebody asked a question, she quit. She now has to save herself.
Yeah.
She's going to have to save herself. And they mentioned when the indictment was brought forth, everybody, including the people that worked for him, that was a part of and enabled, will be held accountable and charged as well. So at this point, she has to protect herself. But what I will say is, I think that they did the best that they could do earlier on. For instance, when he came forward and he tried to create a sense of doubt that Cassie was telling us mistruths, right? They did a job of making people question and why. But the point was, when the video came out, the video was there. The video was there. So there's nothing that a publicist could say to say that was not what people saw. And even when he addressed it, some people said, well, why would they let him go live? Why would they let him address it? He had to address it. But if you notice that in his address, he did not say her name. And he also never admitted to any of the other charges that were said. He just apologized for what he did and letting everybody say he never addressed her. He never said sorry because he
Well,
could
they have
not.
a gag order.
Right. But he can't even say her name. He can't mention her name at all in any of this. I think that the PR team that he had did the best that they could do with what they had. There is no way that she could have saved him from the fact that a video was leaked and you saw what he did. You could not say he didn't do it. You couldn't say it was a mistake. You could, and he had, basically told us some things that weren't true before and saying that he had never done these things. So, I think people have to give PR a little bit of a break. I think that Natalie did the best that she could do. If you look at it, for 35 years, she had us believing that he was a Santa Claus. He was untouchable, but he was also sweet and cuddly. He was love, is what we thought. They did an excellent job of creating the image that we all loved, believed, and welcomed. So I'm not going to say that they're asleep at the wheel. I think now she has to save herself.
She very much has to save herself. And thank you for saying that. It's a great point too, that PR people can only do but so much, right? Like they can't control their clients. So they did do a great job at positioning Diddy as this figure, this way more than just a rapper, right? Like Diddy he transitioned out of just the hip hop baggy clothes street rapper way faster than Jay-Z did. And I would dare to even say that what they did with him kind of laid the groundwork for how Jay-Z began to move and transition out of that just hip hop era. I would even go as far to say is too that sometimes Diddy seemed like he was working against them. They were like, Diddy, this is the goal. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to buy 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Thank you.
Well, I mean, who's to say that the PR team, so the PR team may not have even known about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I just think that it's very easy for everybody to blame the PR team. If the client does not listen to the PR practitioner, you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, there's only you can only do but so much. Today, TMZ gave us the hotel footage of Diddy being arrested. He was walked out by the feds. In the video, you see him at first not handcuffed. There's just two agents behind him, one in front of him, and then it appears that the handcuffs go on inside of the elevator because when he comes out for that main floor, and again, Diddy is slippery. I would have definitely put those handcuffs on him, and I would love to see and hear that elevator footage. But now here we are. Diddy is a father of 4 young girls. How do you move forward, especially in a place now with social media? It's not a perp walk, but that version of his perp walk is going to live on forever. How do you kind of stomp on that, if you will?
Well, as far as for his children, or as far as from what perspective, what POV are you referring to?
For me, I kind of blur them. Like my brain is thinking, oh my God, these kids are in high school. These images are going out. This is their senior year. So I'm seeing it like, yes, branding for him, but also like, we got to get this out of the press.
Well, this is the thing, when things are great and you live in high on the hog and you're in the press, it's the same press is going to be there when things aren't great.
Swings both ways.
Yeah, I think what you guys have to realize, those children have so many other things that they have to get through, from the fact that they lost their mom in a very suspicious manner, that they're going to have to always have in the back of their mind questions, but also the things that these kids probably have witnessed and seen. They are going to have to go through a lot of counseling. And unfortunately, there's not going to be anything that's going to be able to protect these kids from what is going to be said and done moving forward. Unfortunately, it is what it is. There's not enough PR out here that someone can buffer that. Those are things that, Diddy, he made those choices, but you got to keep in mind, having these wild parties and different people coming in and out the home at all times. If you think that these children weren't privy to that, right? Those things are just as damaging.
Mm-hmm.
Just as damaging.
Child, more money, more problems through it through. Because ugh, that that is the only thing that I say. It's horrible watching this. I can't believe that we're living in a world. I just said on the live the other day, CNN was so quick to get the video up the other day when Diddy originally was arrested that they didn't blur out Cassie's face in the video when they replayed it on Tuesday, I think that was. Um and just to be in a space where all parties included are going to have to relive these traumas over and over and over again is heartbreaking. I always want to take a minute and acknowledge if there's anybody listening, watching the replay that is currently going through DV. There is help out there. I normally in these videos link that information down below so that you can know that there is a place where you can go. I don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody has all the answers, but help is available. Ebony,
Yes.
you get the phone call, God forbid. You get the phone call. You are now head of this PR ship that now is the whole Combs brand. Like, what are your first 100 days on the job look like, if you will?
Well, the first thing that I would do is create a sense of doubt. So if you are able to work very closely with the attorney and have the fans create a sense of doubt of what is being said to them. So, for instance, one of the charges that they have him on is sex trafficking, right? We would have to prove that these individuals were there and had sex against their will, took drugs against their will, and knew that they were over age. So if they were underage, he did not know and was not made privy of that. So that's one of the first things you do. You try to go in and create a sense of doubt around it, because at this point, none of his brands, the Combs enterprise, you can go in and try to create all these marketing plans. The face of the brand is damaged. So you're going to have to go in and go to the heartbeat of the problem. The heartbeat right now is Mr. Combs himself. And we have to create an image of doubt. We have to create an image of a desire to bring him down, whether you believe that or not. But you create this image of a victim, of someone that's being victimized and used by the government as a scapegoat or something of that magnitude. If you're able to create that doubt and create a story of redemption, very much like Bill Cosby, right? When the situation happened with him, oh, he was trying to buy NBC. Oh, he was trying, but did he give someone drugs?
Right.
And
Because that's
did
what we're
he
here
have
to talk
sex
about.
with them while they were asleep and out? That is the real question. But people tend not to be able to think that long or that deep. They'll just go into the narrative of they're just trying to bring a black man down. And if I was a PR practitioner, I would play on that.
You on to something there, because they definitely had the whole world talking about some Bill Cosby house in Massachusetts is sitting on top of oil.
All type of stories. It was all type of conspiracy theories to the point where you forgot about the facts. You forgot about, did he do it? Did he admit to it? Did you see it? So much so, on January 6th, the average everyday person still questions what they saw. And they will say, oh, but it wasn't him. He wasn't behind it. It was another group. We will do any and all things to change what we saw. It is a mental game, and really it's a perception that can be created that will make you question what you saw.
Creating the doubt. That's okay. So now y'all know y'all can point it out. You can be like, y'all trying to manipulate for us. I see what's happening. From one PR crisis to another, this week, Kevin Lyle has stepped down. We talked about Kevin Lyle earlier this week in his allegations and connections to Trey Songz. Trey Songz is another one who seems to be rather slippery. And again, I don't know if we chalk that up to his team or people's short attention spans, but we tend to very often forget the things that Trey Songz has been accused of. Some of those things have stuck, some of them have not. But when those cases come up, Kevin Lyle's name comes up. He was the CEO over at his record label over at Warner Music. People are assuming, obviously, that he stepped down because he's going to be named inside of all of these happenings for Diddy. Do you think that did his stepping down happen in the least messiest way possible?
Very much so. Very much so.
I thought so as well. Mm-hmm. I used my degree for that one.
Very much so. I mean, the reality of it is, people have to save themselves now, and the fact that Diddy was the only one that was named right now in the case of the indictment, that means that individuals have come forward to deliver the message of what they know. When you have tapes and tapes and tapes and tapes and tapes, there's nothing that you can really question. And so a lot of people are upset because the young lady from Dirty Money came forward. But you got to realize, again, people are trying to save themselves. At this point, I doubt that anybody's just running down except for people who are trying to have a payday, right?
Sure. There's always that.
But I guarantee it's a whole lot of people that's getting that knock on the door and being taken downtown, and they're having to answer. So at this point, these people are facing some serious time. One of the worst amount of times that Diddy's facing is life in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Life in prison. So we have to keep in mind that people are not going to just sign up to go. And you could have, and this is the thing, you could be on that tape and you may not have been engaging in anything, but you were there. They have you looking, having a cocktail, and you were around while something was going on. You're now a part of this whole RICO situation. You were a part of it.
Now, when it comes to that, are certain things like, okay, if we're talking about this man who has been accused of this, right, or this heinous action, and it said in one of the docs that he threw a pan of eggs at Cassie while he was frying them, all of these things, is like, you want me to speak up against that? So is there any consideration for that, or are they looking at it like, well, if you willingly came to the party, then you weren't scared, you were comfortable?
Well, I think it all depends on how people view it. You came to the party, but just because you came to the party did not mean that you signed up for, different activities. Yeah. Right. However, and that is going to be the burden that will have to be proven, is that these individuals did not willingly come, did not willingly participate, and did not willingly go. Like, you have to prove that, because and everyone knows this, when you heard about a Diddy party, you were breaking your neck to get to a Diddy party. And so for people to now act as if only certain people, there were people who were upset because they weren't on the guest list to get into a party, because again, there was the party after the party. So just because you went to a Diddy party doesn't mean that you partake in what they're accusing you of. And then the people who stayed behind, were they forced to stay behind, or did they stay behind on their own?
Right.
Did someone force drugs on them, or did they take that on their own? So these are the types of questions, and this is what my job would have been, to bring that sense of doubt into the minds of the viewers. Whether you like it or not, that is what you have to create a perception to protect your
client. And that's the word. Everybody has a role here, because I know there are some people I've seen on the internet like, oh, no PR person should take him on, or no lawyer should take him on. And it's like, well, baby, that's just simply not how this works. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? The man is going to be represented. And in my opinion, like, get the best counsel. Let's do this in court. You bring your best man, how the state bring their best team, and we're gonna see how the chips fall. It's law, babe. Not the same, veering off for Diddy just a second, because you referenced January 6th. So I want to swing into politics just a little bit. I personally feel they're nothing burgers, but these alleged tweets of Mr. Mark Robinson, the governor hopeful out of North Carolina. If you guys haven't heard this story, CNN breaks a story. They've got screenshots of some anti-Semitic and some just anti-Black rhetoric that this governor hopeful had spewed online. However, and there's no time limit on being racist, but they are tweets from 2010, right? There aren't any active tweets to suggest that this is currently still his state of mind. Now, some people are saying that he has spewed some of this rhetoric at his rallies, and so that's why they think it's the same. He decided to come out yesterday and say, like, listen, it's not me, which I think was very stupid. If CNN is telling you they've got the screenshots and they've authenticated it, it's not me is a crazy sentence. But he decided not to step down. Again, from a PR standpoint, how do you manage things that come out in the ninth hour when votes or there is a deadline on the line for the news?
Unfortunately, news is only important for the day that it's reported. Tomorrow we'll be on to something else. People will forget. There's been some damaging things that have happened, and let's say last year, and you ask people about it, they can barely remember.
I'd be like, oh yeah, that did happen.
Or I think I remember something about that. So as his practitioner at this point, I would have him not make any more statements about it and move on. And then have him involved in some large scale events. You bring other things on the forefront and people are talking about that. Do some collaborations with some other heavy hitters in his party. People by next week, this time, people would have forgotten that even happened.
For sure. So is that, and this is the generalization, but is that how you guys typically go about it? Like, we are going to see if we can mitigate this for the next day or two. And then if we still have to talk about it, then we'll go from there.
Yeah. But you never really jump to answer first. You have to wait and understand the landscape. Pay attention to the landscape. You understand, you take the litmus of how the population is responding, and then you decide to go from there. You can't be quick to draw. The other thing is you have to be careful because you never know what else is out there lingering. And that's one of the things I always tell clients. You have to, beyond your priest, your publicist / crisis manager needs to be the closest thing to you. I need to be closer to you than your wife, your mother, your kids, everyone. I need to know what none of them knows. I need to know the truth, because if you don't tell me the truth and you don't let me know where the skeletons are, I can't help you.
That part. It's like my mom used to say whenever we would go into parent-teacher conferences, she would say, tell me whatever you need to tell me. Don't let me find out for the first time from this teacher. Like,
right.
Because that's going to make me mad. If you was talking too much, if you ain't had something that you turned in, let me know now. Because if I go in here and I went to the elementary school version of like a PWI. So in the 90s. So you can pretty much surmise what that experience was like. So my mom was like, if I got to go in here and have this white lady tell me something to drop my jaw, it's going to be me and you when I get up out of here. Simone Redwine was on the other day, and she said that from her opinion, that she felt like Diddy's lawyer looked like he was scrambling in court. Obviously, yes, you have a client, right? So in this situation, if Diddy was a client, are you also giving tips, tricks, rules? Hey, do this to the legal team, or like does whatever plan for averting the crisis, does it start or include the whole team?
It does. Typically, when there's a case like this, it is the attorney, it's the crisis manager, and it is the individual in charge, the individual that's being charged.
And what does that typically like? What does that process look like?
Well, the process is that we're talking through what is he being charged for, and how do we structure the communication that will answer what he's being charged. We make a decision together as to whether or not we're going to address certain issues or not, and then how it will be addressed, how quickly we will address, how deep we'll go into it, how we will address certain people we won't call by name, certain people we will insinuate. All of those things are important. And so that is it's usually a very closed meeting. It's very long. It's very emotional, because many times if the client is saying, I'm being charged for something I did not do, this is not fair, this is not right, etc. Sometimes it's very emotional because they're being charged with things they did do, and there's more to come. And it is my job to make it so that the worst doesn't hit the fan. The other thing that my job is once the client advises myself and the attorney of what the person is being charged of and what's potentially to come, I am then charged with going out there and trying to make sure the worst doesn't happen. So maybe we offer something for it to go away, or we come up with different avenues to try to make that the worst not come to light. So there's so many different things, but again, it is the responsibility of the person that's being charged to be completely honest in order for the attorney and the crisis manager to be able to help them
to get it all done. And that's when you send Quinn and Huck out, and then they go and talk to the
Yeah, I can't talk about that part of it.
No, I didn't even mean to beat them up. I was just saying you send the gladiators out, because you can't all be in one place at one time. If they happen to get beat up, I don't know nothing about that. Never heard of it. I think that this was a very needed conversation, and I appreciate you having it with me, because one thing for me is, while I don't have my degree in PR, public crisis management, any of that, I'm very versed. So like I cringe when I'm like reading the comments and they should have just done. So this little corner of the internet is to bring the real life to the pop culture and to the gossip of it all. While it is salacious, while it is fun to talk about, there is real life. And so I like to pull out those pieces. So thank you for coming and doing that with us. Child, y'all, I don't know. I feel like every day is something. We're going to get more, right? So we'll keep chit-chatting. Same thing I always say. For me, I like to remember that these people are still people. What he did and who he victimized should have no bearing on how you decide to talk about people, how you decide to talk when you know that, again, these babies are in their senior year of high school. Is no matter who is trying to keep them off the internet, they are on the internet. So while we're all screaming into a void, you can be putting good into the void, or you can be putting bad into the void. And that's up to you. It's all going to come back to you. So handle it how you need to handle it. Miss Ebony, please let the people know where they can find you, where they can get more of you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at the Ebony Porter Ike, and it's spelled like IKE. And you also can follow our agency at EPI Media Group. Website www.epimediagroup.com. I don't even know. Do people still use www anymore?
I don't
know. But
I don't know.
Yeah, epimediagroup.com. But you can find my personal page again at the Ebony Porter Ike.
And then didn't your podcast just start a new season? You've got new episodes coming?
Yes. We just started a new season of Coinology this past Wednesday. We drop new episodes every other Wednesday, but you can find us out on YouTube at Coinology. And that's COINOLOGY. And I'm going to tell you something. It's hot over there.
I was about to say, please tell the people about that trailer that you got, because that tea was piping hot. I said, oh, my goodness.
The most recent trailer with Dr. Stacey J. Johnson. Yeah, yes. Stacey is the host over there on Put a Ring on It on OWN. Amazing woman, very well respected across the country. But in that particular episode, she talks about how she shot her stepfather. And so we talk a lot about that, and it goes into details about some of the trauma that went around that. So check out the episode.
Yes, guys. Until the next conversation, who knows what that'll be? I'll let you know, because I don't know myself. But please remember that it is free 99 to be a good person. So when you're out in the world, do that shit.
Right.